Bartiromo. A shock defeat on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers this week failing to pass an extension of FISA Section 702, one of the government's most important tools for tracking foreign terrorist threats against the United States, letting it expire. And it comes at a time when millions of foreign visitors are now in the United States for World Cup events across the country. We're gearing up for America's 250th birthday celebrations, and there are heightened tensions with Iran. Some in the intelligence community warning that a lapse in the program could hurt efforts to identify potential threats to the homeland. Both Senate Majority Leader John Thune, along with House Speaker Mike Johnson, slamming Democrats who tanked the bill, accusing them of playing politics with national security.
The Democrats, 199 of them, voted against a clean 3-week extension. And when the bill went down, they applauded. They applauded it. I pray that we do not have a serious calamity on our shores over the next few weeks. They are willing to jeopardize the safety and the security of the American people to make a cheap political point.
This is the problem we have with Democrats. Their Trump derangement syndrome, the blind hatred they have of the president, is preventing them from doing anything, even if it's something that is in the national security interest of the country.
Joining me now is House Budget Committee Chairman and Texas Congressman Jodey Arrington. Congressman, great to have you this weekend. Thanks so much for being here. The House is not expected to vote on this again until June 23rd. Your reaction?
Well, I think it's par for the course for Democrats, right? They're showing once again the lengths they'll go to obstruct this president. And once again, resorting to holding the American people's security hostage to do it. They did it by shutting down Homeland Security Department for 76 days, the longest on record. So the Coast Guardsmen went dark, TSA went dark, border security, the folks that prevent and protect us against cyber security threats. And then they forced a vote and forced us to use budget reconciliation to fund ICE and CBP. They all voted against it, so they effectively voted to defund law enforcement and abolish ICE. So these are the extreme measures they'll go to basically pander to the left and obstruct the president. It's a dangerous game. It's an overreach. I think they'll pay a political price for it. But let's hope and pray to God that the American people and our homeland doesn't pay a price for this important security and intelligence tool going dark for days, maybe weeks.
Yeah, and, you know, they come up with whatever reason they want for pushing back against the president's agenda. This was over William Pulte being named as an interim or temporary head for DNI. The president has announced that he has chosen Jay Clayton to be the permanent DNI. Did that change minds and all in terms of how your colleagues are feeling about the president's appointments? Or is it whatever the president says they're against?
I think it's an excuse, so I don't think the merits of either decision, personnel decision, will matter. But, I mean, the first excuse was Bill Pulte. This is a temporary personnel decision. This is a guy that is running the Federal Housing Finance Authority and doing a great job. DNI, basically the intelligence community, is made up of 18 offices. It could probably use the organizational management skills of a good businessman for this temporary window before we get the permanent appointee in. But again, the president was elected. He was elected overwhelmingly. He was given a mandate, which included making America secure again. And I think this is a really bad excuse and a dangerous one just to hold the president up. So chaos right before, the November midterm elections.
Absolutely. And I guess that's by design. I mean, Republicans did manage to muscle through the $70 billion package that will fund ICE and Border Patrol. But some House GOP members are pushing for a third reconciliation package now to fund more of the president's agenda. House Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries, however, was quick to share his opinion on that. Watch this.
The last thing that the country needs right now is the one big ugly bill, Part 3.
Congressman, you were among a group of senior Republican lawmakers who met with War Secretary Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon this week to talk about defense funding and what could be included in the next round in another package. Can you tell us about your meeting at the Pentagon, and do you believe there will be a third reconciliation package?
I do. I think there will be, because there's a lot of work to be done, and we're not going to get any help from our Democrat colleagues. So let's start there. Typically, we'd have a bipartisan appropriations bill to supplement the resources that our troops need in time of conflict. That's not going to happen, Maria, so we're going to have to go it alone. So reconciliation is the last train leaving the station to actually govern our country and to provide for the common defense, support our commander-in-chief and our troops. And so a big part of this Reconciliation 3.0 is just that. And then there'll be a down payment of some scale to modernize the military and to prepare for wars of the future. But we can do all of that and pay for it with the war on fraud that the president has aggressively prosecuted. And we ought to come alongside of him, codify these anti-fraud measures, go after the hundreds of billions of dollars. That's what GAO says. Basically, the size of Texas and California's budget combined, Army and Navy budget combined. That's the annual leakage of the federal tax dollars that are being defrauded, and these important programs that are being threatened in terms of their sustainability. That's how we offset the cost, and then we have some monies to direct on the, I would say, legacy of Biden's unaffordability crisis with respect to housing and health care. So that's the framework, and I believe that the Republicans have the political will and the unity to do it again. We've done it with thin margins every time. It's not going to be any different this time. The American people are counting on us. We got to push through.
Now, I spoke with John Thune the other day, and he and others have pointed out that it's a very short window, right? Because if you're going to do a Reconciliation 3.0 before the midterm elections, you've got to get that in place before you leave for the August recess. That means you only have, 15 legislative days left to get that done.
We have plenty of time on the clock to deliver for the American people's agenda. Remember, they wanted to reverse the curse of the open border. They wanted to return to peace through strength and supporting our military. They wanted us to rein in the reckless, unbridled spending that ignited the inflation firestorm that they had to deal with. They wanted to keep more money in their pockets. They wanted a strong economy. They want to rid this government of fraud, and they want us to steward their tax dollars because they're offended by it. They should be. We're at $39 trillion in debt. We're borrowing $6 billion a day, and we're jeopardizing our children's future. We've got enough time on the clock. The question is, do we have the political will to do it? I believe the House does.
All right. We will be watching all of that, Congressman. Great stuff. Thanks so much for being here.
Great to be with you as always. God bless.
All right. Budget Committee Chairman Jodey Arrington. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will see you soon. Quick break and then